Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are taking a look at my Crimzon Clover World Explosion 1cc in Novice mode. And as you can see, we don't waste any time, we go directly into the footage. So I bought this game very early when I got into Shmups, I think in March, April of this year. But I only played it just a little bit and went on to something different because I was just checking out a bunch of different games, and I ultimately settled on Ghostblade HD and later on Mushihime-sama. But I played this game on and off because I thought it looked really nice. It was, or it is still a really nice game. And after getting a little bit more into shmups, playing Dodonpachi, Daifukatsu, and Mushihime-sama, I can appreciate this game even more because I can see the parallels between Mushihime-sama and Dodonpachi put into one game. So in this first stage, there's nothing too special, so I will just ramble on a little bit more about the history I have with this game, because in this stage it's basically the introduction to the game. There's nothing too crazy. Of course you can get killed, sure, but if you play it a few times, so the first level, if you play it a few times, you will get the hang of it and you will destroy most of the things before they can even, well, touch you or shoot anything to destroy you. So what I really like about the game is you can see on the top left where it says Novice Original, and directly under it you can see the stick, and the game has three buttons basically, and that's something I really like. I really like that they combined the break mode, a mode you also have in Dodonpachi Daifukatsu, or you have some kind of break mechanic or power-up mechanic where you go into some kind of burst mode and increase the strength of your shots. I think it's a really nice idea to combine it into one button, so you only have 3 buttons to worry about. I always like that about Mushihime-sama. It's relatively simple on the control side, but very complex, at least in my opinion, very complex on the gameplay side. So first boss, nothing too crazy. I have enough meter for break mode, or even for double break mode, as you can see here. This is also something really nice, that they have bombs and this break mode on one button, and you can even double break. The cool thing about Novice mode is that every boss gives you an extra life. So you can just hoard or stack those lives and also get even more lives because of all the stars you collect. You can see it on the top right. You accumulate more and more stars and you get basically extra lives. So the second stage is a little bit more tricky. I think the spike between stage 1 and stage 2 is quite significant. I can't really explain it, but I think there's a lot more going on. From the beginning you get shot by a lot more stuff. There's a lot more going on the screen, which might throw a beginner off. At least that's how I felt about this thing. I thought the stage 1 was relatively easy, and the stage 2 already makes things a little bit harder. So I stay most of the time I stay in the middle and just dodge from left to right or from right to left, nothing too crazy. You have this mid-boss. The patterns are also not too crazy. You can basically stay on the left side like I do and dodge the incoming bullets. It's nothing too special. You don't need to worry about the thing in the middle. And we should really take a minute to appreciate the nice visuals. I always thought that the game looked very, very cool. Might be one of the best looking games in my opinion. Mushihime-sama and Dodonpachi also look great, but I think this is just a little bit different style, but I really like it. So after the boss, you go into this mine. I don't know if it's a mine, but you have all those mining carts. Is it what it's called? I don't know. Where the tanks are on top and shoot you. Yeah, you have already a lot of different patterns and things going on. There's those cards that throw the ball, those brown balls in the air, and then they fall down. It gets even more obscure in the next stage. There are these balls again, so it can throw you off if you don't know what to expect. But you can kill it very fast and very easily. So nothing too crazy, nothing to worry about. I mean, if you're an expert, I think novice mode is, of course, you won't worry about anything. But yeah. So second boss, nothing too crazy going on. So in this phase, you just need to mind the gaps and go in between those balls, and you can more or less ignore these things on the side because it won't touch you. And if you stay close to the boss, you can nearly ignore a phase. Here I use break mode. It's a little bit too early because the boss jumps and you can't hit him. And you need to look out if he comes down, that he doesn't touch you. And I think he also can use his arms and legs, but you won't see it here, I guess, because I'm killing it too fast with my double breaks or with my break mode, and the other patterns you can just dodge from left to right, which is relatively easy. But if you try to kill the boss without any breaks and bombs, you can see some different patterns he uses, and he will try to grab you with his arms, which can be terrifying, I think, at least for a beginner. But if you practice it more and more, you will figure out that using break mode just skips a pattern or two. I also got a life due to the scoring. You can see it on the top right. So I got an extent and I died there. It was nothing too crazy, honestly, but I think I was just, well, sleeping for a second. But the stage 3 can be even more tricky. It's a stage where you have to be awake, obviously, and you can dodge those blue streams very wide. You don't need to micro dodge it, and those things fire their shots from the left and right, so you just stay in the middle and kill it. Here you have more of those balls that get thrown in the air and then fall down, which was really weird for me in the beginning because I never saw this pattern. At least I cannot remember seeing it in Mushihime-sama or Dodonpachi before, or any other game. Here it is again. It can throw you off because the timing is a little bit weird. I don't know how it works in arcade original mode. I guess it will be even more obscure, but on the other hand, I think it's really cool if they mix something up and you see new patterns that you haven't seen before. So here we have the mid-boss. It fires this beam and it goes around the world, so to say. And here you can just stay because it fades. And he will, or the boss will always charge his big laser beam and shoot downwards. So you have a brief moment to let him charge and then dodge to the left or to the right, whatever you're more comfortable with. And this pattern is also relatively easy, I think. The first phase is a little bit more stressful, I think, at least for me. And here is where it really gets stressful, because I think there's a lot going on. It reminds me a lot of the, well, most of the part of Mushihime-sama Stage 3. But Stage 3 in Mushihime-sama is full of this weirdness. Here it just starts at the middle of Stage 3 in Crimzon Clover, so that's why I like to use the break mode, or the double break, to get out of all this bullets. Those things can be annoying with their blue orbs. And you see that there's a lot going on. I don't really have a specific advice how to route this part of the game. It was just practicing, I guess. Practicing and using your resources like break mode or bombs or anything. I think that's a very important part in Shmups, that everyone has to learn to use his or her resources, because at least I tend to try to save it for more dangerous parts. But if I'm lacking the knowledge about what really dangerous parts are, I, let's say, oversave my resources. I never use them, then I die, and I effectively use resources I should have, well, used before to save my life. And that's why I'm using break mode here again, because in the second part of the third stage there's a lot of stuff going on. I use a bomb here because I was on the wrong side of the screen for this flower. And here you have to stay really close to this guy, because there's a second enemy coming. And if you have two of them on the screen and they are not directly parallel to one another, you have the screen full of bullets and you might die. So you have to speed kill them more or less and stay very close to them. Okay, so boss, the third boss is a little bit more of an endurance test, I guess. So you can stay at this point where I am right now. You have to watch out for these lasers, but you have to slip between those, and then you go back up the left or the right side, because the boss won't hit you there. This pattern is quite easy if you practice it a little bit. It's not too hard, because the gaps are pretty big and the shots are not coming too fast after one another, so you have enough time to dodge left, dodge right, go between those bullets, and then you have this red lasers. And the next thing is very scary, I think, for new players, because you have to go around those lasers, and it wants to go you completely around the boss, or more or less go around the boss. But I like to use break mode here and get in front of the boss again and use the double break shortly before the first break runs out, and then I can use the rest of the double break to damage him here and avoid most of this last pattern. I think it's a little bit tricky. You have to practice it a little bit, but it's doable. I think the whole stage is quite of a difficulty spike, and I had to practice it quite a bit. Yeah, and the same goes for stage 4 and stage 5. So on stage 4, these popcorn enemies come from the left and then from the right, and they shoot this bullets that go straight down. But if you don't take care of them, they will flood the screen with bullets. Here you have yeah, different enemies that shoot faster bullets, slower bullets. It's just a matter of practice, I guess. As you can see, I stay mostly in the middle, and if something comes along my way, I dodge it. I think those enemies are pretty cool. I like those patterns that cross each other. I'm saying this now, but I don't know how it works in arcade original mode. I guess it's pretty stressful, so maybe I will change my mind as soon as I go into arcade original mode and try to deal with the patterns there. But here they are again. They die relatively quick if you use your lock-on mechanic, and the lock-on mechanic not only makes you fire those missiles, but it also focuses your laser shots, comparable to what Mushihime-sama or Doropachi are doing. So if you kill the tanks or the weapons on top of this ship or this ship, it will fire those blue lasers, and in the beginning, if you don't know what's coming, you will totally get hit by it because it's quite fast. This was also very close because I was not killing it fast enough, and I really like this part because I haven't seen this before. Maybe in Softstar, I'm not sure, or no, in Raging Blasters, I'm not sure, but I saw something comparable, but not in this form with the lasers. And yeah, I think you can stay in the middle, more or less. You have to dodge the bullets like I did there. It was very close. I overweighted almost. And you use your lock-on mechanic to kill those guys. But you can also go a little bit closer like here and focus your shots on them to kill them or to damage them a little bit more. So this is where my trouble begins. So first of all, I had to really practice how to deal with this thing, and it took me quite a while to understand that this boss wants you to go around him. I think it's very cool because it's a unique way to, or not a unique way, now you know that how to deal with it, but first time, if you try to manage it by yourself, you're thinking, like, what do I have to do? Why do I get killed all the time? But I think it's a very cool way to introduce players to new patterns, because I haven't seen this before in another game, so it was very new to me, and I went around the world, or around the boss. I like to call it around the world, I don't know why. I like to call it like that, and you have to do it twice, or you can do it twice. Yeah, I died here because to this day I have no idea how to deal with those saw dudes, enemy things. I had to bomb. First I died, then I had to bomb, but I don't know how to deal with it. Maybe you have a tip for me, so please share it in the comments so I can get better. But I had no clue how to deal with it, and I knew it before and said, okay, if I go to this, or I'm reaching this point, I will use bombs just to skip it. The problem is that this game's training mode is solid, very solid, but you cannot practice the mid bosses. Here I also use my break mode to get out of the bullets. I should have trained this part a little more, like the part before, or after the mid-boss. The part between the mid-boss and the final boss is, or the stage 4 boss, is something I should have practiced way more, but because you have no option to use a save state or start at the mid-boss, I haven't done this yet. So in comparison to the part between the mid and the end boss, I think the stage 4 boss, sorry, I'm always saying end boss, the part between the mid boss and the stage 4 boss is pretty hard, or it's harder than dealing with this boss, I think. I think you just need to practice this boss from time to time and get used to the patterns. It's not too crazy. This is a little bit scary, so that's why I use my break mode. I let the bullets come and use double break mode to get rid of the bullets. And this is the thing that will catch you the first times you practice this boss, because he fires this 4 lasers, and yeah, you need to know what's coming, so you can position yourself accordingly. Take the extra life again, because, well, maybe I should have said this before. I never thought I would get that far, to be honest. And, well, I'm always collecting the lives to get to the last stage, and, yeah, just try to get as far as I can. So now we're at the last stage, and, yeah, the game throws everything it has against you. The tricky part about this stage is there's a lot going on, and you have this laser turrets. They have to charge shortly, and then they fire this big beam. And I think for Arcade Original, you really need to exactly know where they are, so you can just kill them very fast and, well, dodge their lasers. Or it's best to kill them very fast, so you don't have to deal with it, because I don't know where they are, because I didn't route it or practice it enough. I'm using the break mode here. And then you have all those smaller enemies, and you can see that the screen gets very crowded. And yeah, that's why I use the break mode again to deal with the turrets and all those smaller enemies. Then you have these guys that fire a lot of shots, and this guys that fire a lot of shots. So this stage is pretty much yeah, firing everything against you that it has. So every enemy they have left in the game is here. So I like to think about this stage having 4 parts. The first part ends here, when you get this message from the final boss, I guess. And you enter this phase where you have all the tanks on the right and on the left. So the first part is where you have these big turrets that are shooting this blue beams, where you need to route it a little bit or use your resources like I did, because I didn't exactly know where all the turrets were positioned. And then you go into this phase, yeah, where you have this guys from level 3, I guess, that shoot multiple bullets from the sides. And the screen gets flooded with all the popcorn enemies that you can see here, and this rotating things that shoot a lot of bullets. So you should try to kill them as fast as possible, or if you are not able to, just use your break mode. Yeah, I used double break in this case, and yeah, you speed up here and get the first mini boss or mid boss. I think the stage has 2 mid bosses. I still consider this the second of 4 parts. So you can evade these patterns relatively easily. I'm back with the break mode, and with this you can just stay on the left. As you can see, the bullets, even the blue ones, they won't really touch you, so you can stay there, use your lock-on mechanic, and yeah, fire at the boss. And then when he shoots this green bullets, you go back into the middle and evade. then you go to this, I don't know what it is, an abyss or an elevator shaft, I have no clue. But there you see the boss from level 2, I think. But this time you fight him in a reverse setting. So this can be quite offsetting, because this time this boss is under you, so to say, and you might get thrown off by just the direction, because I think most of the people are used to fight the boss that is on top of the screen, so directly in front of you. So this can be a little bit tricky and offsetting, but you get used to it. I think you should take your time to kill this boss and don't use break mode, because if I'm not mistaken, if you kill him too fast, there will be a second guy coming. So I tend to just evade and try to kill him with my lock-on shots. So this is the third part. I consider this the third part. Even no, also the boss you saw right there that you fought being beneath you or underneath you. I consider this a third phase, because here you don't have the turrets firing the laser beams. Instead, you have these things that shoot these orbs at you, and as you can see, it floods the screen again with a lot of bullets. And if you are not able to destroy them very fast, you might run into some serious problems. And I think there are 3 or 4. The first is on the bottom left, this one is in the middle, and of course there are even more enemies that shoot at you. You see that beams, and I use my bomb here because I don't want to get killed at this point, because it's basically the third part. We are now entering the fourth part. At least that's how I like to think about it, which is the final boss. You could even say the final boss and the true last boss are, like phase 4 and phase 5, but so let's just keep it simple and say the whole last boss fight and the TLB is one phase for now. This things, as you saw, I died there. It is not necessary, but it can happen, as you can see, if you are not killing them fast enough. Those bullets can be pretty nasty to dodge. Now we're at the final boss. Nothing too crazy. You have to white dodge this. You cannot macro dodge, I guess. So I'm white dodging it. Then you stay on the left or the right, whatever you prefer. I died there and got kind of nervous because I never died there before. And I used break mode relatively early just to clear the screen from bullets and like focus again and get my mind on track and shake off the nervousness. The problem is with the break mode that the bullet the enemy fire gets way faster. And that's why some of those patterns you saw were just or just came out really, really quick. I practiced this boss quite a bit, so I knew that I had to dodge left and right. When I first saw this phase where he bounces off the ground, I was pretty afraid and didn't know how to deal with it. So I had to practice this quite a bit, and I think, or for me personally, I feel like this takes some time. You get nervous because this thing is bouncing. It's a pattern I never saw before, and it's still terrifying because I don't know if I'm completely safe in one of the corners. I don't think so, and you have to be patient and use your lock-on shots to damage him slowly but surely. So we had, in this first phase of the boss, we had two, yeah, let's say unnecessary death. Look at my scoring. I take this because I get an extra life. So this was kind of lucky. So we can go to the, I think this is the TLB already, if I'm not mistaken. The cool thing is in training mode you can practice this TLB. This is kind of scary because it's a charged laser shot, but I have problems to really tell when the shot is coming out, so when it's fully charged. In comparison, this pattern is more easy to dodge for me personally. So I use break mode to increase my firepower and avoid the pattern a little bit, even though I think it's easier to dodge than the lasers. And this is also pretty hard to deal with for me, so I use a bomb here. So he goes around the screen from left to right and from right to left and fires multiple lasers down, which is quite fast and, yeah, well, hard for me to dodge, to be honest. So now we're in the last phase. We still have 4 lives, which is very good, and this was a point, maybe even in the phase before, that I knew, okay, I can do that. I practiced this thing as well, because if you haven't seen this before, it might be off-throwing that you have to go around the boss all the time to avoid this pattern. Here I use my bomb because I get a little bit nervous. I can feel that I'm close, very close, and I have enough lives, but I don't want to risk to die too fast, because I didn't practice this last phase enough. I was pretty surprised that I was able to get this far, and now I didn't want to mess it up, so I'm using everything I have, trying to dodge as good as I can, and yeah. We are not losing another life. It was pretty surprising for me that I was able to do this, because I felt that stage 3, 4 and 5, as well as the last boss, needed some more practice. But it shows that if you play other games, you learn from different patterns, you can take your knowledge over to the next game and adapt on the fly, so to say. This doesn't work for every game, I think, but yeah, it definitely helps if you played some other games or cleared some other games before. And yeah, I was very happy that this clear worked out, because I really like the game and I'm feeling like I want to spend more time with the game, checking out the higher difficulties. Yeah, that's basically it. Maybe one last thought. I think I won't recommend this for complete beginners. It's a great game, but I think novice mode is not too easy for beginners. But well, if you like the game, if you like the looks and the mechanics, I think just go for it. I just don't feel that this would be the perfect starting place for a complete new beginner. On the other hand, all this explosions, all the stars and the bullets, yeah, are quite mesmerizing and might motivate people to play more of the game. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have played the game, what are your experiences with it. Would you recommend this for a complete beginner, or would you say there are better games that you could start out with? Just let me know in the comments. If you liked it, please like. I'm very happy to see it. I'm very happy to see your comments and read your comments. And I hope to see you back in the next video. Have a great day and keep on playing Shmups.